From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Amarachi Ubani.
Tonight, bandits strike again in Beningwari local government area of Kaduna State, killing one person and kidnapping at least 7 others. More reactions on National Assembly's decision on Electoral Amendment Act as Senate President explains conditions given by lawmakers. Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies increase oil production by 400,000 barrels per day. Nigeria may get 30.6% increase by 2022. And German Chancellor Angela Merkel expresses shock over flood devastation in Germany and in Belgium. We'll begin here in Lagos, where one person has been killed or is dead. Another sustained life-threatening injuries following a tanker accident close to the Otedola Bridge, outward Lagos. The incident occurred when a containerized trailer lost control while descending towards the bridge in the process of trying to park off the road. The container fell off the body of the vehicle and landed on top of another vehicle driven by a woman who was seriously injured and later taken to hospital, while a young man who hawked snacks along the gridlock was crushed to death in the same incident. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is appealing to motorists to exercise utmost caution while driving in this festive season. And in Kaduna State, bandits have again killed one person and have abducted 7 others in Beningwari local government area of the state. The bandits reportedly stormed the village on motorcycles and immediately started shooting sporadically before abducting 3 women and 4 men. The incident, according to the police, happened at Angua Gajere village under Kutamashi ward of Beningwari local government area of the state. Aside the kidnap, more than 50 cows were also rustled by the bandits. While the bandits seem to have a smooth operation in some places, Nemesis did catch up with them elsewhere, this time in Rafi local government area of Niger State, where at least 10 of them have been reportedly killed in Kundu village. Unfortunately, 2 security operatives who engaged them in a gun battle also paid the supreme price. Niger State Governor Abubakar Bello visited the community.
Residents of Kundung village in Rafi local government area of Niger State still in shock hours after an attack on their community by suspected bandits. They recount the story of how the attackers, numbering over 100, invaded the community on 50 motorcycles.
They are not little, they are many. They are come with a vehicle. All vehicle, there are 3 persons, there are three people are come on top to the motorcycle. They are 3 in 1, all of them. So I hope the motorcycle, there are more than 50 motorcycles.
They consider it a lucky escape, as bandits would have left behind their trademark of deaths and tears if not for the intervention of security operatives stationed in the community.
If you see this road, now the road pass go along to the Ushishi local government, Ushishi, Tashan Ushishi, Pakara, Kwakwagi, and others village. They are parking their cows, come enter their bush again.
The residents say at least 10 of the invaders were killed in the onslaught with the security operatives, while they ask for more security presence in their community.
Every day we were running, we were up and down. Maybe we will go out in the night. Early as possible, we'll come back again, cook some food, and go back to where we used to go and hide ourselves. The government should try at least to do something so that we can be able to secure from all this running.
Governor Abubakar Bello visits the community for an on-the-spot assessment, and he commends the efforts of the security men with a promise to support the families of the operatives killed.
View the situation, the architecture of the area in terms of security, and to make it better. But so far, I think the security men did very well. Unfortunately, we lost 2. But I also understand the bandits suffered heavy casualty, so they did well.
This latest onslaught is coming about a month after an attack on men of Operation Puff Adder, and the state government is promising to invest more resources in efforts to clamp down on the activities of bandits in the state.
Staying with security matters, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Kali Baba, has assured the nation of sustained efforts by the police in fighting crime and criminality, improving public safety and security across the country. The IGP gave the assurance while urging the top echelon of the force to beef up security ahead of the Eid al-Kabir celebration and to prevent any untoward situation in their areas of responsibility. In a statement by the force spokesman, the IGP directed zonal AIGs and state commissioners to put in place all necessary security measures to ensure a secure, peaceful and incident-free celebration. The IGP equally warned that personnel deployed must be professional and mindful of the fundamental rights of the citizens and discharge their duties responsibly. I'm staying put. The words of assurance coming from Governor Umaru Fintiri of Adamawa State on his status as a member of the People's Democratic Party to some members of the Board of Trustees of the party, led by its chairman, Senator Walid Jibrin, who paid him a courtesy visit. The governor also took a swipe at National Assembly members over the controversial Electoral Act Amendment Bill, describing their decision as shameful.
This country is bleeding, and Nigerians are there waiting for us to take over power and provide that leadership that they need. You don't abandon the party or the house you helped to build. So I think I shouldn't be one of those that should be considered as those who are contemplating leaving the People's Democratic Party. People are killed, nobody cares. So because you talk, nobody will even listen to you. You see the direction of the National Assembly on the transmission of results for the 2023 election. It's so shameful. You cannot be doing laws for yourself. The whole world is moving towards technology. You cannot be behind. Everything in this country has gone technological-wise, from the banking sector to whatever you think in this country. Nobody has complained. Why would they reject when it comes to election? You are telling the whole world clearly that I want to rig election. That is the message.
Meanwhile, the president of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has been justifying the position taken by the Senate on the conditional electronic transmission of election results. Senator Lawan explains that the upper chamber voted the way it did in defense of about half of the Nigerian voters whose ballots may not be counted. The Senate president, who spoke to journalists during a constituency visit to his Yobe North senatorial district, said, "We know the evils of not transmitting results electronically, but compare the evils of electronically transmitting just half of the electoral votes from Nigerians and say you have elected a president with 50% only, and others have voted but their results or their votes could not be electronically transmitted. This is disenfranchising Nigerians, and we are not going to support this kind of thing." Senator Lawan also faulted some media reports that insinuated that only the APC senators voted against immediate deployment of electronic transmission of results, saying that the votes cast cut across party lines and regional divides. Staying with politics, but in Anambra State, the recent release of candidates list for the November 6th governorship election by the Independent National Electoral Commission is already raising heated controversy among key political rivals in the state. Our correspondent Benga Ashiru takes us through the intrigues and intense legal battle already trailing the Anambra governorship race ahead of the polls.
When the spotlight is turned on Anambra politics, it brings a stark reminder of a serial turbulent political transition which reared its head in the run-up to the 2006 and 2014 governorship polls. The kind of political giants parading the Anambra political election battleground and issues like zoning and other considerations defining the political horizon in the state. Certainly, the race for the top seat of the Awka government house portends not just a fierce rivalry, but a most intriguing one. For the forthcoming November 6, 2021 Anambra governorship contest, the umpire had barely blown the whistle when the political temperature rose to a fever pitch. The just concluded primaries has come yet again under fierce controversies, with many of the parties heading to the courtroom to seek revalidation of the governorship tickets. Several parties in the elections are battling internal crises. From the People's Democratic Party,
this distraction about a state executive committee conducting a primary that is not recognized in law, is not recognized in fact, it's a needless controversy.
These wardmen, these congressmen, they've gone to court, they've gotten a judgment to say that they are the lawful Congress people. Now, there is no other judgment setting aside this judgment.
To the ruling All Progressive Ground Alliance,
Victoria and Chivedozo Njoko have been working for their own interests in the leadership crisis of the party.
The information we got was that INEC delayed so that they will issue nomination papers, documents to a stranger, an alien. Some people alien to Apuga. That is unacceptable.
And the All Progressive Congress too.
There is no election, but those who contrived that and executed it, they failed it. Because they are putting the party in a harm's way.
Any route that has to be followed that is legitimate and proper will follow. The important thing is that we're seeking justice.
Not even INEC is spared from this intricate web of litigations, with some factions of these parties dashing to the court to restrain INEC from recognizing some set of candidates. With INEC releasing the final list of candidates for the Anambra governorship race, the hornet nest might have been stirred, with some big names conspicuously excluded from the list. Former CBN Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo, while the PDP is also missing from the list.
In relation to ABGA, we acted on the basis of two court orders. There was a court order that emanated from the High Court of Justice of Jigawa State that sat in Birnin Kudu, which affirmed that Chief Judo Keke was the valid acting national chairman of the party.
No doubt, for many bookmakers, this is just a prelude to a high-level drama yet to come before, during, and possibly after the November 6 exercise, as we keep a close watch on the race for the successor to the governorship seat of Anambra State. Gbenga Ashuru, reporting for Channels Television News.
The All Progressives Congress, the APC, has approved the schedule for its 2021 congresses in all states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The party said in a statement that the purchase of nomination forms for ward, local government, area councils and state congresses will take place between July 19th, that's tomorrow, and August 28th. The party asked that screening of aspirants for the ward positions is scheduled for July 29th to July 30th, and that ward congresses will hold on July 31st, 2021. The party has also granted waivers to new members and returning executives to seek elective offices, while a committee of 7 persons will be appointed to conduct the ward congresses. In part 2 after the break, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies increase oil production by 400,000 barrels per day. Nigeria may get 30.6% increase by 2022. Join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Bandits strike again in Baningwari local government area of Kaduna State, killing one person and kidnapping at least 7 others. More reactions trail National Assembly's decision on Electoral Amendment Act as Senate President explains conditions given by lawmakers. Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies increase oil production by 400,000 barrels per day. Nigeria may get 30.6% increase by 2022. And German Chancellor Angela Merkel expresses shock over flood devastation in Germany and in Belgium. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, known as OPEC Plus, have agreed to increase production by 400,000 barrels per day. The group made the decision at the 19th OPEC and non-OPEC ministerial meeting today. The statement shows an upward on overall production by 0.4 million barrels per day on a monthly basis, starting from August 2021 until phasing out the 5.8 million barrels per day production adjustment. And in December 2021, they will assess market developments and participating countries' performance. The new quota, which showed an increase of 30.6% when compared to the 1.4 million barrels per day, excluding condensate currently being produced by Nigeria, will take effect from 2022. Last month, OPEC Plus agreed to continue to boost output in July, in line with the group's April decision to return 2.1 million barrels per day to the market between May and July. But the last meeting, which was supposed to seal the agreement, was called off after the United Arab Emirates criticized a proposed 8-month extension to output restraints. More thought leaders are weighing in on the recently passed petroleum industry bill, especially the contentious 3% net profit for oil-producing communities. This time, the governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule, is insisting that better insight beyond political and regional interest is needed to fully appreciate the import of the issues in the bill. The governor, who agrees that the Niger Delta communities deserve welfare from Nigeria, accuses some of those arguing from both the north and the south of not probing key structural issues in the bill, instead focusing on the politics, and made the comments in our political program, Sunday Politics.
You have to look at the totality of what goes to the communities. Is it just the 3% that is going to communities? People have forgotten about the 13% derivation that goes to the states. People have forgotten about NDDC that actually is there, also established. Some percentages also go there for the development of the Niger Delta communities. So if you give the 5% or 10% or this, what happened? Is it changing the community, or is it going to some other individuals? So for me, I don't look at it from that angle, but politicians that have very little understanding of the entire structure are the ones who are worried about what percentage actually goes there. So really, I care less about whether it's 3% or 5% or this. The most important is that let us go and take a look at what is happening in the Niger Delta communities. And it is the 13% derivation that is going to the communities. Is it helping them? Is the NDDC actually, are we not hearing all the corruption and everything going on in the NDDC? If you even take the 5% or the 3%, are we going to implement it properly? So I think those are the questions that we as Nigerians, we should need to be worried about rather than percentages of this and this and that.
Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, have arrested a major illicit drug kingpin in Anambra State, one Okeke Chijoke. The agency recovered 548,000 tablets of tramadol, branded Takadol, weighing 302.500 kilograms from his warehouse in Maryland Estate in Oyi local government area of the state. Okeke's arrest follows credible intelligence and surveillance, which confirmed he stocked his warehouse with the illicit drug. The suspect accepted ownership of the substance recovered. Preliminary investigation reveals that the drug was manufactured in India and smuggled into Nigeria without NAFDAC number or certification. In a related development, a notorious interstate drug dealer, one Godia Linus based in Taraba State, that supplies narcotics to dealers in Adamawa, has also been arrested in Numan area of the state. Godier is an ex-convict who was in jail between 2012 and 2018 following his conviction on drug-related charges. This week, Nigeria's House of Representatives submitted a special security report to President Muhammadu Buhari. This report was the output from the National Security Summit that was organized in May. What is new in this security report and what is the next step? Babajide Gosowo, Data and Information Consultant, is here to share insights about the National Security Summit report. Thank you for being here on the News at 10.
Good evening, Amachi, despite the traffic.
Wow, terrible traffic this afternoon, I have to say. But nothing compared to what you're about to reveal to us in this new security report, right? Because the Office of the National Security Advisor, Minister of Defense, the Department of State Security, the National Intelligence Agency, everyone involved in security have given security updates to the president. So what are they telling him? What's he hearing?
First, small progress is still progress. Tonight, regarding the reports, there's some good news and there's bad news. I'd like to start with the bad news. The bad news is if you pick up a copy of the report, there are three bad news that you'll see. The first is we still don't know exactly how many ethnic groups we have in the country. So in that report, it talks about over 250 ethnic groups. I think we're at the point where we have to be more specific to be able to know exactly how many ethnic groups are in Nigeria. That's the first bad news. The second bad news is within the report, it talks about areas of focus, but there's still no rank to these areas of focus. And what do I mean? What exactly should be priority number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That is not in that report. The third bad news is within the report, you see timelines, but these timelines are long-term timelines, 12 months to 24 months, Amarachi. In that report, you don't see timelines of 1 to 3 months, and that is what the Nigerian man wants. What exactly will happen tomorrow and within the next 90 days? That is not available. We see timelines, but they are long-term timelines, no short-term timelines. Those are the bad news. To the good news. The first good news is this report was not just done based on the opinion of members of the House of Representatives. It was based on opinion from traditional leaders, security professionals, experts, philosophers. So what we see a comprehensive report. Within this report as well, we see that the House of Representatives presented to Buhari what should be the focus of the executive government and what the executive should focus on. Those were 19 items, and they've also identified 7 things that they want to focus on. And finally, the report identifies for a lot of Nigerians who can't read that 146-page report, 4 areas that summarize the exercise that the House of Representatives did in May this year when they had that national summit. And if we focus on those 4 areas, which summarizes this entire security report, here's what the House of Representatives identified as the most important critical areas that it wants the country to focus on. The first is it talks about local and community policing. And this time around, we're looking at not just state-led policing, we're looking at local government areas playing bigger roles in policing. Second is strategic kinetic national security operations. In simple terms, they are looking at the military getting an additional 300,000 soldiers. They're considering the country having private security contractors, what some will call mercenaries, but they are saying that mercenaries should come in only for the short-term purposes. They're also considering 40,000 special policemen, 1,000 in each state. That is the second point, strategic kinetic national security solutions. The House of Representatives also talked about global perspectives and international factors. And what they mean by that is better partnership within African nations, especially the West African region where we are, Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. They also talked about the Lake Chad Basin. They talked about partnerships, international partnerships. And there's this new, relatively new idea, the Great Green Wall, which is being able to plant more trees and renew the green spaces. And finally, non-military and non-kinetic security options and solutions. And what they are looking at are things like food security, job creation. So they are talking about creating a state or declaring a state of emergency on job creation, minimizing poverty and infrastructure. So in summary, these are the 4 things that the House of Representatives presented to the President in their report. And they are saying, Mr. President, focus on 19 areas, and let's focus, as the House of Representatives, they want to focus on 7 areas.
So a multidimensional approach, but which one is the most important to them? I mean, the representatives.
For them, that's the challenge. Nothing was ranked, so we had a broad area, but one of the things that they really mentioned, which reoccurred in that report, was the Nigerian police. So clearly they want the Nigerian police to be reformed. They're talking about state policing, local government policing. They've even suggested that the name of the Nigerian police force should be changed to the Nigerian Police Service, which I think is...
Well, they have changed their name, I think, in recent past, from the Nigeria Police Force to the Nigeria Police. So what else changes?
So they are talking about Nigerian Police Service, and there are other good recommendations that are in that report. So in all, small progress is still progress.
Yeah, but the House the House is usually divided. People usually, make decisions based on party lines. Was that the case, in this report?
In this report, I didn't get that sense. There was no mention of APC, PDP. So it doesn't seem to be a partisan report. It seems to be based on recommendations from a lot of stakeholders. So that is a check. That's a positive. But what's missing in this report is I still didn't get that sense that this report was driven by science, driven by data. Because the data really also, the examination of data allows us to understand and points us to the solution. I'd like to talk about what Vilfredo Pareto, who created the Pareto principle, talked about, which is most times, 80% of our problems are caused by 20% of the instances. And if you take a look at even the data which speaks to it, which states in Nigeria do we have the most terrorist attacks? What you'll notice is since the Boko Haram started in 2002, there have been 5,000 events of terror, 5,000 terrorist attacks in the country since 2002. But here's the catch. Looking at that Pareto principle, 80% of these attacks have happened in 20% of the states. Again, I repeat, 80% of terrorist attacks in Nigeria have happened in only 20% of the states. And if we look at those states, those are the states in front of us where we will also want the House of Representatives, the Senate, and even the government to focus on. We're looking at Borno, Adamawa, Yobe State, Benue State, Plateau State, Kaduna, Kano State, and in the South, Rivers, Delta, Bayelsa. Now, this information has been audited by the Global Terrorism Database, and if we understand that it's important for every Nigerian, every citizen living in every part of the country to be safe, but in terms of tactics and strategy, we need to follow the science, follow the data, and focus on the areas that are most problematic. Again, 80% of terrorist attacks have happened in 20% of Nigerian states. In summary, the report presented by the House of Representatives to President Buhari is a good report. It's shown that there's small progress, but like a wise man said, small progress is still progress.
Oh, nice place to leave it there. Thank you again for giving us something to think about this evening.
Pleasure is all mine, Amarachi.
Still ahead on the news at 10, hospital workers allegedly divert treatment substances meant for malnourished children in Jigawa State. We'll look at how this happened shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news at 10. 54 people at least have died following the outbreak of cholera in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Authorities say 604 cases of the disease have been recorded from early May of 2021 till date, with more than half the cases said to have been recorded within the last 3 weeks. While the Federal Capital Territory officials are working to tackle the situation, residents in some of the affected communities are raising concerns about the absence of basic amenities such as water and lack of proper environmental sanitation. And in every 10 children, more than 6 are stunted as a result of malnutrition in Jigawa State, northwest Nigeria. That's according to the 2018 National Demographic Health Survey. While government and other development agencies are trying to proffer solutions, some of their efforts are being sabotaged by yet-to-be-known persons in the state. Our correspondent, Sadiq Ilyasu, filed this investigative report from Jigawa State. We do, however, warn that some of the videos may be sensitive and may be hard to watch for some of our viewers.
Malnutrition, a clear deficiency of nutrient, more rampant with children and sometimes in adults. A 2018 National Demographic Health Survey shows 64% of children in Jigawa State in northwest Nigeria are stunted as a result of malnutrition. This means in every 10 children in the state, more than 6 have stunted growth as a result of malnutrition. The government and other partners are working to remedy the situation.
From 2018, those donors withdraw their support only through WIN, that is Working to Improve Nutrition in Northern Nigeria. So they are supporting only 3 LGs in the state, that is 18 centers. In 2020, the Jigawa State government also released 80 million for the procurement of those foods, that is RUTF. And also now, in 2021, the Jigawa State government released 105 million for the procurement, and we already received the commodity in our state store, and we do the distribution to the LGS.
This is Kachanga Health Facility, one of the centers for the management of severe acute malnutrition in Kiao local government area of Jigawa State. Parents whose children suffer from this devastating illness bring them here on a weekly basis to get the only available treatment for the severe acute malnutrition, which is the ready-to-use therapeutic feed, RUTF. Unfortunately, some of these RUTF find themselves into the black markets. They are taken through a quick guide to personal hygiene. Then the circumference of the hand of the child is taken. Their weight is also measured to determine the treatment required. A quick drop of vitamins and the ready-to-use therapeutic feed, RUTF, are administered as the treatment for the malnourished child. A father of a malnourished child discloses that some hospital staff allegedly divert the RUTF.
I've always gone there for the RUTF, but they usually tell me that they're out of stock. The officers there have formed the habit of sharing the RUTF among themselves. I've seen them sharing it. Believe me, I'm telling the truth. They will give some to a few people and they will share the remaining among themselves. Is it that they are paying themselves through that? That is what I don't know.
To avoid raising any alarm, a child was sent to one of the outlets where RUTF is allegedly sold in Takur area of Dutsa local government. Within a minute, he returns with 2 at the cost of 100 naira each. Also in Gumel local government area of the state, a girl is seen hawking RUTF on the street. The chairman of the Civil Society Forum calls on authorities to track and prosecute people selling the substance.
We'll do our best in tracking and monitoring the implementation of service delivery in saying that the government duties is to provide the RUTF for the people affected by malnutrition. We'll do our best to fast track and also monitor and tracking those people, and inshallah we'll report them back to the appropriate authority and government as well for proper action.
Several children are dying as a result of lack of proper nutrition in the state, as it is key to their health delivery endeavor. With this discovery, it is expected the relevant authorities take necessary action on the saboteurs and rekindle hope of the people in government health institutions. From Dutse, the Jigawa State capital, Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
Away from children's health to children's education, Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State is challenging government at all levels to ensure increased access to quality education to fast-track national development. Speaking at the graduation ceremony of Abuja-based private school Pace Setters Academy, the governor believes increased access to quality education will address the growing number of out-of-school children in the country.
The main hall of Abuja's International Conference Center is filled to capacity as students and parents converge to witness the graduation ceremony of Pacesetters Group of Schools. Several dignitaries are in attendance, including the governor of Edo State, as the issue of quality education in the country dominated discussions here.
So the key is that as a country, we must scale up. The standards you have set up for these few children is a standard we must have for all our children in this country. Because if we do not, Nigeria may never realize its full potential. The potential of this country lies in these young children we have seen. And they abound across the country, in the north, in the east, in the south, all over the country. And we cannot afford to fail them. We have demonstrated that in Edo State that it is possible to expand access and improve quality.
Foundational literacy and numeracy is actually the predictor of what people will be in life. If children are not able to read and to get certain numerical concepts by the age of 10, they are going to be completely unable to accomplish much in life.
In his address, the chairman of the school urges Nigerian youth to be fair, equitable, and hardworking in their quest for success.
The future of Nigeria is now in your hands. I give you challenge. Whether we like it or not, your time will come in the country. When it comes to your turn, be fair, be just, be equitable. Nigeria is a big country. Love everybody the same.
As the students transit to another phase of their lives, their parents can only hope that they are well equipped to handle the challenges that come with the higher demands.
President Muhammadu Buhari has called on state governments to build stronger partnerships with federal government ministries, departments and agencies to provide infrastructure that will meet the growing needs of Nigerians. The call is contained in a statement issued today by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, explaining that President Buhari is also urging the National Assembly to pass the National Water Resources Bill. Ms. Adesina said the President made the comments during the commissioning of the Zube Regional Water Supply Scheme in Katsina State. The President said the project was initiated by a previous administration in 1992, and the federal government had to work in collaboration with the state to ensure completion. He then enjoined other sectors to emulate the good practice of federal and state governments' partnership to accelerate infrastructure development. Prices of foodstuff will begin to come down as the rainy season gets more entrenched. That's according to the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Muhammad Nanono, beg your pardon. He told Channel Television's Ladi Akedulale on our current affairs program, Newsnight, that several factors from within and outside the country are responsible for the currently high prices. The minister says a viable rail network is also critical.
Reason, one, transportation cost has gone up, and this affects goods for direct consumption and also inputs into the agricultural sector. Had it been that we managed to maintain our railway system in good shape, the price regime in this country would have been better, because no country as big as our own, with huge agricultural potential, will do without a good railway system. And that affects the overall cost regime across the board, not only in the agricultural sector, but also in other sectors. Naira is now selling at over 500, dollar is selling now at over 500 Naira. CFA, from our West African neighbor, mostly French colonists, yes, they find it now cheaper to come and buy Naira and buy our goods and ship them out. This is the main reason why currently the prices of foodstuff in Nigeria has gone up. So we anticipate that as the rainy season moves on, the prices will gradually come down. And also there are some elements of hoarding. quite a number of people that have a lot of money, and especially these oil merchants. Now they realize that it's not giving them that huge margin. Some of them, they have turned their huge amount of cash that way and buy this product and store. But that is just a matter of time. You can only hold up to a certain level. The issue now is for the government and the people. How do you boost agricultural production to counter this? That's the challenge.
You can watch more on the interview with the minister on Newsnight. It airs tomorrow, Monday, July 19th, 2021, at 9 p.m. right here on Channels Television. Yobe State Governor Maimala Buni has signed an executive order number 3 asking all livestock rearers in the state to commence payment of livestock tax effective July 2021 to boost its internally generated revenue as well as encourage large-scale livestock production. The Secretary to the State Government, Baba Malam Wali, disclosed this in Damaturu, the state capital, at a joint meeting with pastoralists, traditional leaders, local government chairmen, security personnel and other stakeholders.
Livestock tax, popularly known as jangali in northern Nigeria, was a familiar practice since time immemorial. With the oil boom in the early 70s, the livestock tax was abolished, forcing the government to largely depend on oil. A situation that has not only reduced the internally generated revenue, but also fueled the influx of foreign pastoralists, farmers-herders clashes, cattle rustling, and increased outbreak of animal diseases in the country. To increase the internally generated revenue and scale up livestock production among the pastoralists and checkmate cattle rustling, the Yobe State government has reintroduced livestock tax payment.
For us to be peaceful and live in peaceful coexistence and to avoid the problem of cattle rustling, there has to be the introduction of cattle tax to increase the revenue and also for the purpose of security in the state. So after that resolution, His Excellency the Executive Governor Honorable Malabuni signed an executive order number 3 for the introduction of cattle tax in the state.
The Commissioner for Agriculture explains that once the tax collection commences, more benefits will be derived by livestock farmers.
Once the herders pay tax, they will be provided with some of the amenities they require. It will allow them to settle down. And from there, once they know their cattle or their livestock are comfortable, it will really go a long way in mitigating conflict.
The pastoralist groups who welcome the idea are, however, asking the government to judiciously use the revenue as well as provide logistics for their animals.
Idan mutane an san su an san kuma mazanin su sannan kuma kaga dukkan wasu abubuwa da yake faruwa an san wa'anda za a tunkara. Wannan shine muke ba da goyon baya. Muna kuma cewa contributions namu a gwamnatance mu ma saboda haka idan bukatunmu sun taso na makiyaya muna fata gwamnati za ta iya dubawa ta share mana hawayenmu.
As the livestock tax collection is expected to begin this month, investigations by Channels Television reveals that a projected 8.66 million livestock ranging from cattle, goats, sheep, donkeys, camels and horses have so far been enumerated by the Yobe State Livestock Pilot Program.
And now to the arts. Working Through an Impasse is a solo exhibition by renowned sculptor and multidisciplinary artist Ndidi Dike at Art21 Gallery in Lagos. About 8 of the artist's latest images aims to depict formal and technical approach to global issues that remain unsolved. Art Review tonight looks at the images done by this celebrated female artist.
The 8 body of works done by Ndidi Dike are on display at the Eko Hotel Art21 Gallery. And through this exhibition, she aims to highlight responses to challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic with her mixed media paintings and other installations.
Initially, I had started off with
a title about intersections and reality of my aesthetics as a vocabulary. Then later on, because of the current circumstances, I changed it to working through an impasse, because everybody knows that since the Corona-19 pandemic, everything has been upended. Nothing is the same anymore. So I had to now readapt some of the current circumstances, happenings in the global world into my artwork.
So working through an impasse, this renowned sculptor intends to let her audience into what she has been working on since 2020 before COVID-19 happened.
This is called Panoramic Meditation on Trade, Capitalism and Dispossession. The beauty for me as an artist from a conceptual and aesthetic point of view is that I find the markets very inspiring in terms of the way they display their wares. I readapt those aesthetics or the way they actually stack or plan their works into my own personal work. The pandemic actually exposed a lot of inadequacies of the system, particularly the health system, not only in Nigeria, but globally. So that's sort of like dictated the kind of themes and topics I've come up with in this body of work.
Through this exhibition, Ndidi Dike reveals the current circumstances in Nigeria and globally, which the pandemic exposed, especially in the health sector.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel today described the flooding that has devastated parts of Europe as terrifying, after the death toll across the region rose, inching closer to 200. She visited affected areas of Western Germany, talking to survivors and emergency workers, telling residents it is terrifying. It is the country's worst natural disaster in almost 6 decades. The devastation continued today when the district of Bavaria, southern Germany, was hit by flash floods that killed at least 1 person. Roads have been turned into rivers, some vehicles have been swept away, and swathes of land have been buried under thick mud, while rescuers continue to search for survivors. It is International Mandela Day today, this Sunday. The theme for this year is One Hand Can Feed Another. However, following the recent violence and looting in some parts of the country, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, in his capacity as leader of the ruling African National Congress, spent the day joining in the cleanup efforts in the country.
As part of his Nelson Mandela Day activities, the president of the African National Congress, Cyril Ramaphosa, leading other party officials for the cleanup as well as solidarity efforts, visited several places in Soweto, including here in the Fire Mall, the Jabulani Mall, as well as the Maponya Mall, which was actually not affected by the violence. It was here at this mall, right next to the police station, that 11 people died in a looting stampede. After going through what's left of the mall and helping with some cleanup, the president called for a moment's silence in honor of the dead.
We are sorry. Now the next step for us is to rebuild. We must rebuild. We have learned valuable lessons here. We must also support the businesses that have lost a lot here. And we will act together to make sure that we defend and we rebuild.
Susanna Osei, a Ghanaian, is one of those who lost everything in the violence. She says she's not even sure where to start rebuilding from.
I have 4 hair salons around Soweto, and all of them was gone. Even I couldn't get even a comb from it. So we are pleading to the government to help us more to renovate our shops. Otherwise, we don't know what we are going to do now.
Would you agree with those who say government has been soft on the people who participated here, like they're being made out to be victims themselves when there are victims, people who have lost so much?
Yes, I encourage government to take
drastic actions against those people who are criminals, and the justice system should really give proper punishment so that it becomes a lesson.
Many eager community members came out in numbers to either help or just catch a glimpse of the VIP visitors. Looking at all the faces of the community members, it's hard not to wonder if some of those who have come out to help to clean up were not part of those who looted. Police Minister Bheki Cele, speaking in KwaZulu-Natal, promised to fish out all the looters.
It's going to be a very tough time in many houses and many homes around South Africa, because we will want to come in your house and you give us the appliance and you give us receipt. So they better call those people and get receipt. If you don't have a receipt, hard luck to you.
President Cyril Ramaphosa is this year's speaker at the Nelson Mandela Day virtual event, which has the theme, "One hand can help feed another." From the Indofire Mall, Meadowlands, Soweto, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
With 5 days to the Tokyo Olympic Games, Team Nigeria contingents are gradually settling down for the tough task ahead in Japan. The team arrived at the Games Village earlier today after camping in Kizurasu on arrival in Japan, as attention now shifts to the business end of the world's biggest multi-sport event.
Team Nigeria's contingent that includes taekwondo, table tennis, gymnastics, canoeing, rowing and wrestling join other athletes from around the world who were ushered into the Olympic Games as it approaches.
You can see our captain, Aruno.
With strict COVID-19 protocols put in place by the organizers, every athlete who enters the Games Village will stay in the bubble until the conclusion of the Games. In less than 1 week, it will be showtime for the athletes who will be competing in various events.
This is amazing. We're Team Niger, and I'm looking across and I see Team China, I see Puerto Rico. What? Every country is here, and that's just beautiful.
And for some of the country's athletes in events like taekwondo, gymnastics, badminton, amongst others, this will be their first at the world's biggest multi-sports event. However, ex-Olympians who have competed on the same stage have some soothing words for the athletes.
The Olympic tournament comes with a lot of Olympic spirit, The Olympics was created for humans to compete, come together and bond. So I wish them best of luck. And Nigerians will be hoping that we come back with some medals, So expectation is very high. But the spirit of the Olympics is to compete.
As an athlete in the Olympic Games, I'll be able to see and experience the joy of victory and the agony of defeat. And at the end of it all, either you win or you lose, you are all champions, because you are the very best the world can offer.
When we were competing in 2003 in Maputo, we were losing in the semifinals and the finals, but we never gave up. And we did it against all odds. And so you really want to put everything you have into your sport and work your hardest and don't give up until it's over. And hopefully I wish everyone all the success and doing well at the Olympics this year.
Nigeria will parade 58 athletes in 9 sporting events during the Tokyo Games, and the team remain confident of their chances this time after a disappointing finish in Rio 2016, where Nigeria clinched a bronze medal in football.
All the best, Team Nigeria. And the main news again. Bandits struck again in Birnin-Gwari local government area of Kaduna State, where they killed 1 person and kidnapped at least 7 others. Also today, more reactions trail the decision of the National Assembly on the Electoral Amendment Act, as Senate President Ahmed Lawan explained the conditions given by the lawmakers. And that's it on the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubane. Good night and stay safe.